Hello there. Welcome to Llewellyn's live called Sale, which is Surviving Abuse in Life. And yes, we all have to survive. Hopefully, you're thriving than when you were. Or if you are still being in the abusive situation, I pray that you are safe. All right. So last week, I went over my book of chapter 1 of Tiny Steps to Success, Not Alone, Not Forgotten. And I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick review of chapter 1. So let's see. Skip that. Oh, well, before I do, let me tell you that disclaimer that I have to say. I am not a pastor. I am not a counselor. I am not a therapist. I am not a professional. I am not a doctor, so I cannot give medical advice, nor can I prescribe any medication. I can give opinions. I am not perfect, but I am a child of God, and I do the best that I can to help people. All right, so last week I read chapter 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and do a quick review. Chapter 1, we talked about understanding mental health. In understanding the mental health, I talked about anxiety disorders, depression, PTSD, CPTSD, bipolar disorder, chronic OCD, and borderline personality, just to name a few that I mentioned in here. Now, I have to remind you that this does not make you weak. So please don't ever think that, ever. You are not defined by your mental health challenges. Okay? You're not. Okay, so, excuse me. I want to read this paragraph here because I think it's important. It says, mental health struggles can often bring feelings of loneliness and isolation. Some people may find it challenging to express their emotions or reach out for support due to fear of judgment or stigma associated with mental health. Now, again, understand that these struggles are not unique to just one particular person, and that many others are actually facing similar challenges like myself. That's why it's titled Not Alone, Not Forgotten. Even though you may feel that you are alone, I promise you there's many of us out there right along with you. So let's see. The first one we talked about was anxiety. It goes with your physical symptoms, cognitive symptoms, emotional, and behavioral. So just as a recap on that. If you need more information on that, either go back to the first one on this, last week's, or you can actually purchase the book on Amazon. I think it's like $10. I do have testimonies in here to let people know that they're not alone as well, from Canada, Washington State, Missouri, just somewhere here in the United States, places like that. So if that's something you're interested in, again, either go back to last week or buy the book, because then you can actually write it yourself, right? The next one after that, I talked about. So there's anxiety. Depression was next. Their feelings of things like sadness, hopelessness, lack of interest or pleasure in any of the activities. It can affect people both emotionally and physically, often causing changes in appetite, sleep patterns, energy levels, and concentration. Now, please make sure that if you do get tested for any of these, that it's actually what it truly is and not something else or not multiple of some things. So please make sure that you have a doctor that is actually listening to you, not just hearing you in one ear and going out the other, but actually listening to you, to what's going on with you, and someone that you can trust, that, doctor-wise. Okay. A lot of people have like a higher power that they believe in. I personally believe in God. You can believe whatever you want. So if you do turn to your higher power for guidance, strength, and solace, that's also great too. Just remember to take care of yourself. It's very important that you eat healthy, drink healthy, drink lots of water, eat lots of protein, right? And then I went on and I talked about PTSD. So, post traumatic stress disorder is a mental health condition that can have a profound impact on your daily life, relationships, and overall sense of worth. See, a lot of these things, they go hand in hand with each other. So, please make sure that your diagnosis is truly your diagnosis. All right. Um, Now, PTSD can also cause intense and persistent feelings of fear, anxiety, anger, and sadness. So you may experience, like flashbacks, nightmares, things like that. It's kind of common, unfortunately, but it's there. Okay, so then, and whatever you do, please, please, please make sure you do your own research. I mean, we're talking about your life, your health, your mental health, right? And these are all challenges. I don't believe in calling them issues because we have way too many issues in our life as it is. We don't need any more issues. We need a challenge to get through this. Not over it, not under it, but actually through it. Whether it's with medication, without medication, whether it's with a professional or just someone you can talk to. My biggest thing is journaling. You must journal because that will tell you where you were to where you are to where you want to be. And you can always look back and go, wow, I actually said that, or I felt that, or I'm glad I'm not there anymore, or I can't believe that, stuff like that, whatever it is. Always make sure you put the date on there. So if it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you can look back and go, amazing how far I've come. And that's why I call it tiny steps to success, because each step that you take forward, whether it's 5 steps back and 1 step forward, doesn't matter. Every little success, every tiny step that you take is a great big success. So please do not berate yourself. Do not belittle yourself. Do not drag yourself down further than what we already are. Okay? Okay, so CPTSD is the complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And that is ongoing abuse. So it didn't just happen once. It's not the same thing over and over. Like in my case, I was abused as a child. And then I got, I was also bullied in school. Then I got married to an abusive man. So mine was constant all the way along. Not everyone has that. Some people have them sporadic. Mine just continued. Everyone is going to be different on that, right? So with CPTSD, it's a condition that can develop due to prolonged exposure of traumatic events such as ongoing abuse, neglect, or captivity. It often arises in those who have experienced repeated trauma over and over an extended period of time, leading to significant disruptions in your emotional, cognitive, and relational functioning. Oh, yeah, that's definitely me. And again, I have testimonies from people that have actually fit in these categories. Like CPTSD, anxiety, depression. Real quick, one person said that life is worth it. You've got to keep moving forward because you might miss out on something big. You just might, you never know. Okay, so the next one that we talked about was bipolar disorder. I personally don't have it, so I had to do a lot of research on this. So please make sure you research what your challenge is. So bipolar is a mental health condition that's characterized by extreme and fluctuating shifts in mood, energy, and activity levels. It's a chronic condition that can significantly impact a person's emotional, psychological, and social well-being. Please be careful. And again, I have testimonies from people that, have this, and they say that tough roads make tough travelers. Oh, thank you for the hearts. Who's ever here? Thank you for being here. So just make sure that you do your research, on these. After CPTSD is chronic OCD, which is characterized by recurring and intrusive thoughts, obsessions, repetitive behaviors, or mental acts, or compulsions. And it affects people differently. So make sure again that you are either fully understood by your doctor or that you somehow explain it to them in a way that they can hopefully understand. And if not, find someone who is a professional in that area, because this is you we're talking about. This is your life, your mind. You need to do what you got to do. Okay, so now let's go on to chapter 2. Supporting one another. And if you know someone that either might have any of these challenges, or you yourself, find someone that can help you, even if they just sit and listen. Because sometimes we just need someone to listen and not do anything else, right? So be careful of that. So, chapter 2, supporting one another. The chapter is about learning ways to help yourself or others. There are several ways in which you could learn to help yourself or others who have the mental health challenges. To feel understood, listened to, and supported. So, first of all, educate yourself. You want to learn the different mental health challenges and the various manifestations that comes with it, and understanding the symptoms. You have to understand the symptoms, the triggers, and challenges associated with the MHC, or again, mental health challenges, because they can help you emphasize with or validate theirs or your experience. Also, educate yourself, because if you don't have whatever the challenges that someone else may have, just learning about them would help you understand that person more. Sometimes learning about it will help you understand yourself more. Like, oh my stars, I didn't realize that, this is what caused it or whatever. The second one is to be a good listener. You always want to just listen without thinking of what to say back. Just active listening. Okay. So practice active listening when someone wants to share their thoughts and or feelings. Make sure you give them your full attention. You want to maintain eye contact. Maybe nod. Provide verbal cues to show that you are engaged in listening to them and understanding them. You want to avoid interruptions, like a cell phone, or looking around if you're like in a restaurant or something like that, because that could be signs that you're not interested in what they have to say and they're going to shut down. So basically let them know that you're there to listen and support them. Third thing you can do is to validate their feelings. When you tell them their feelings aren't accurate or whatever, you are invalidating them, and you don't want to do that. You actually want to acknowledge them and validate them, because their emotions, their feelings are theirs. It's just like an opinion. Everyone has them. Everyone has feelings. Everyone has opinions. Everyone has thoughts. Even those thoughts are probably wrong. Like if I said, I know you don't like me, and I said that to you, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute here. That's not true. Because that's how I feel. I feel that you don't like me. I feel that, you're always looking around, or, ignoring me, or whatever the case is, right? You want to validate their feelings, validate what they're thinking, because it's them. And you need to validate your own thoughts and your own feelings. I mean, sometimes we say, oh, that's not justified. Why am I feeling like that? And then we put ourselves in this funk of depression, then it's anxiety, and then it's like a snowball, rolling down the hill there. So be careful how you do that. Avoid minimizing or trivializing their concerns. So make them feel important. Don't tell them that it's nothing, everything's okay, because sometimes it's not okay. Just listen to them. Also be patient and try to be understanding, because understanding the challenges can also affect a person's mood, their energy levels, and their motivation. If they're ready to talk and all of a sudden you shut them down, now they're going to revert back to probably the way they were before. So try to be patient. Avoid pressuring them to snap out of it. You're done, right? Instead, offer support and reassurance. Hey, I'm here for you. Tap on the shoulder, whatever you got to do. I'm listening. I'm watching. I can hear you. I'm fully engaged in this conversation because I care about you. I love you. Whatever the case is, you need to say to that person, whomever it is, let them know that they are not alone. And one way to do that is to make sure that you are being patient, that you're listening, that you're doing all these supportive actions that I had put in here. The next one is avoid giving unsolicited advice. While it may be tempting to offer solutions, sometimes all a person needs is a listening ear. So instead of giving advice, ask open-ended questions to encourage them to express themselves. Let me give you a good example. When I was in an abusive situation with my first husband, my best friend from school told me that he was a piece of crap, that he was not worthy of me, that I was better than that, and that I should leave him. Do you know what I really heard? I heard she was trying to break my family up because he's a father of my 3 kids. Even though that's not the word she said, that's how I took it because, I was in a marriage. You stayed with your mate, right? That's what you're supposed to do. Well, unless they're abusing you. And when I brought it up to him, he told me that she was just jealous because she wanted him. So that put a big rift between us because I really thought that she wanted him. So if she wanted him, there must be something good about him, right? Don't always believe that stuff. So anyway, please make sure you don't give unsolicited advice. Just listen. Just be there for him. All right, the next one is offer reassurance. So provide reassurance and support by reminding them that they are not alone, that they are not forgotten, and that you are there for them. And if this is you, you can be there for yourself. I know it doesn't seem possible, but how does one be there for themselves? Hello, you journal. It's one of the things I'm telling you about. You journal. All right. So either you encourage them to express their worries and concerns openly and show that you're there to support them, or you journal your own feelings and worries and concerns. Because when we actually see what we write down, our eyes aren't as deceptive as our brain is because our brain has these, what do I call them? Ants, the automatic negative thought syndromes running around their head going, oh, you're this, you're that, blah, blah, you're no good. Nobody wants to buy your books. Nobody cares about you, blah, blah, And then when you write it down, it's like, no, because I heard someone say they liked my book. I heard someone say that they liked my love story, or that they liked my sci-fi, or they liked my self-help books, or they liked my journals, or maybe on my other YouTube channel of Mammy's Corner, that they loved the little book that I actually wrote a little children's book, and they thought it was the neatest thing ever, right? So now that I wrote it down, I can say, no, that's not true, because I heard blah, blah, blah. And now that lie in the head is gone. So if it's you, make sure you journal all those worries out. Make sure you journal all those concerns out, because your brain is trying to trick you and lie to you, whereas your eyes will not, because they will see that go, no, what you wrote right there is not true. That's not accurate. And then you can actually start thinking better. Not always, but sometimes. Next thing is respect boundaries. This is very important for anyone and everyone. You need to know where your boundaries lay. So if someone is treating you crappy and you don't stop them, you can expect others to treat you that way too. If they treat you crappy and you say, okay, I'm giving you a warning, you've crossed that line, strike one. Another strike and I'm gone. Because I don't do the 3 strikes and you're gone, man. The first one is shame on you. Second time, it's shame on me. And if there's anything after that, man, I probably shouldn't even be there. So make sure that you respect the boundaries, because everyone copes with the mental health challenges very differently. I'm going to be different than you, than anyone else, and it's okay to be different because we're different. It's okay. It's very important to respect boundaries and their preferences. So respecting boundaries means letting them have the space and time alone that they may need. Allow them to set their own limits and pace when it comes to social situations or exposure to any triggers that they may be triggered to. Let them know that you are there for them whenever they are ready to talk or seek support. And again, if this is about you, journal all that stuff out. What can I handle? What can't I handle? What is proper? What is not proper? You need to figure out what yours are. And one way to do that is to understand what your ethics, morals, and values are. EMV, ethics, morals, and values, or MEV, VEM. I don't know. We'll have to figure out an acronym. But anyway, Anyway, so moving along. The next one is offer practical support. So either you do this by journaling for yourself if it's on you personally, or with them, help them identify and implement coping strategies that will work for them. If you don't know what coping strategies are, it's either in my books or you can Google it. So this can include encouraging them to engage in self-care activities. What kind of things do they like to do to self-care? Maybe it's just as simple as taking a shower. Maybe it's making the bed. Maybe it's reading a good book that they really truly enjoy, whether it's sci-fi, love story, I don't care, whatever it is, right? Or a movie or whatever. Let them have that time and their space there. Um, Exercise. A lot of people like to exercise. Me? Nope, not me. Maybe practice relaxation techniques, kind of like yoga, right? Or maybe they need professional help if they really need it. So make sure you offer accompany them to appointments or assist with any practical tasks that they may find overwhelming. There are times for me, it seems like my dishes just keep piling up and piling up and piling up in my sink. And I just get overwhelmed because there's like so many of them there that I have to put blinders on and walk by it because it affects me sometimes. And my husband tries to help me sort it out. And there's days, today it's not so bad because there's only tonight's dishes in there. But normally I just wait for a whole week because I'm busy with my granddaughter, homeschooling her and stuff like that, that I don't want to make all that noise while she's in school. And then I'm helping her with her homework and right. And then something else happens, or God, I just don't feel like doing that now, or it's just overwhelming. Someone said to make a list and break it down. So I'm going to start with dishes because that's the example I just used. Make a list and break it down by doing, okay, I'm going to sort cups, take all the cups out and put it someplace. I'm going to sort dishes, take all the dishes out. And then once you get them all lined up, and then if you want to put them in the dishwasher or whatever, washing by hand, whatever, they're actually stacked in piles. It makes it a little bit easier to not be so overwhelmed by it. Just one suggestion. You can do it however you want to do it. After all, it's about you, not me. Right? Okay. Encourage professional and or spiritual help, or both, whatever the case might be. Suggesting therapy really is not a bad thing. I'm in counseling and it's been 7 months this month. And I have to tell you that it has been almost like a game changer for me because I feel a little more calm. I am taking anxiety, depression medications, but that's my preference. I still do things to help me out the best that I can. She's given me some techniques that I can work on. One of them is called monkey something. So butterfly. This is a butterfly. Sorry. So the butterfly is tapping like that. I don't know what monkey is now, but anyway, find something that'll work with you to help soothe you. One person said what they do is they kind of get their knees up. I can't to their chest, and they hug themselves and they rock. What I do is I take my hand on my shoulder, skin. I have to touch skin and I rock and I just, hold myself that way. Everyone has their own soothing mechanism. Find something that's going to work for you because you are important. You are not alone. Promise you. All right. Number 10, and I have 13, is avoid judgment and stigma. So don't judge people just because they have a mental health challenge. Don't judge them. Don't judge yourself either. Like I said before, this does not define you. Doesn't make you who you are. Um, Try to create a safe and non-judgmental environment. And if it's about you, make sure that you find yourself and make your home about a safe environment as you possibly can. You want to try and stay connected with people. If you have a challenge, if others are trying to help you stay connected, make sure you check on them regularly. Even if it's a simple text or phone call, let them know that you're there for them and that they're not alone and not forgotten. Just remind them they're not alone. Hey, I remembered you today. You're not alone, right? Encourage self-care. Spending time outdoors is really good for the vitamin D, natural vitamin D, right? Or if you know what their hobbies are, or if you know what your own hobbies are, go do your hobbies. Sometimes just being around others can just help. It doesn't have to be talking about the challenges that we have in life. It could be sitting down and having a drink. Maybe someone draws or they write, and just sitting quietly next to each other as you're doodling or drawing or writing or whatever the case is, right? That helps too. And always monitor mood changes. Help them identify if they don't recognize their own triggers or warning signs of mood changes episodes. Encourage them to, hey, be aware, be in the moment of your own body, feel what's coming up when a trigger happens or, mood changes. So that was 13 of those. And again, each person's challenge experience is unique and different to the next person. It's essential to listen, understand, and tailor your support to their individual needs. And if it is about you, to do it to your own need. You know what you need more than anyone else. And sometimes it's harder for us to take care of ourselves. It really is, especially alone. So you might find some comfort and guidance in the following scriptures. And I do have scriptures. I'm not here to push the scriptures on you. I'm just doing it to help hopefully calm someone, to soothe them out the best I can. So Psalms 34, 17 and 18 says, the righteous cry out, and the Lord hears and delivers them out of their troubles. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. Then there's Isaiah 41:10, and I love this one. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isn't that nice to know that someone is there? And then I have two more. Next one is Matthew 11, 28 and 30. You can look that up later. And then Philippians 4, 6 through 7, which I want to read, which is, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Beautiful, isn't it? So that's the end of chapter 2. I will do a review next week. Any questions or concerns, please put them in the comments. Let me know, how I can possibly help, maybe look something up for you, or maybe even ask my counselor if there's a question I don't even know. I'm not here to tell you that I'm perfect, because I am not perfect. I do not have all the answers, but the books that I have written is because of all the research that I have done. So I just want you to understand that, okay? I want to talk a little bit about my childhood. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because about 2-3 weeks ago, I did a talk on healthy versus unhealthy relationships, right? I talked about the green, yellow, and red flags. When I was growing up, I didn't know anything about those. And I'd wished in my teenage years that someone had told me what to look for, because I would have understood then that the life I was living was not a healthy living environment for this little girl. I had friends all the way up to 4th grade. In my 5th grade, that's when I started losing friends. I lived in a house, but I was still called trailer trash. All my clothes were hand-me-downs. They were never brand new, never got brand new clothes, never fit in with the, cliques or anything like that. I wanted to die, but I knew I couldn't. You see, at the age of 7, the woman who gave birth to me, she gave birth to my baby sister when I was 7. And I was responsible for her. So I would go home every night from school. Let me start that over. In the mornings, I would wake up to take care of a newborn baby, make sure she was dressed, changed, fed, burped, and then off to school I would go after I got myself dressed. Sometimes I was late, sometimes I wasn't, just depending on the baby. Every night after school, I'd get home because I had to go straight home and take care of the baby again, change her, feed her, bathe her, right? Play with her for a bit, put her down to bed. During the night, get up with her. It went on like that for years. She was my child, even though she really wasn't. And I got bullied because I got really low grades, about C's, sometimes D's and F's, depending. And it's not that I didn't like school. It's not that I didn't want to study. I just couldn't study. I tried so hard, but at the end of the day, when that baby was in bed, I was doing this, right? And it was hard for me. But I couldn't tell anyone because her father, who was not my father, her father would tell me that if I told anyone what was going on in that house, and this is because he abused me, I would be taken away. I'd lose my baby sister. I'd lose my mother. And I would lose my father and bonus mom because they would take me away and I'd never see anyone again. So I never said anything. That was like a scary thing to tell a kid, right? So for years, I never told anyone in high school. No one knew. But I got called things like Smelling Ellen. My name is Lou Ellen, but I got called Smelling Ellen. My hair wouldn't always be washed, right? We were only allowed to take a bath once a week. And I say bath because they didn't want us taking a shower. They wanted us to take a bath. And we all had to use the same bath water. Yeah, you know. So I got called things like Smelling Ellen, trailer trash. I was bullied in school. And again, you have no idea how many times I just wanted to end it, unalive myself, but I couldn't because I had a baby to take care of. I had a baby that relied on me because I was afraid that her father would do to her what he did to me. So I would not leave them alone anymore than I had to. And our so called mother really didn't want her. Didn't want any of us kids, to be honest with you. When I was 17, she told me that my kids would ruin my life like her kids have ruined her life. Yeah, she said that to me. Um, I'm getting ahead of myself. I apologize. So our school went from K to 6 and then 7 to 12 back then. Now it's different, but that was back like 70s, 80s, right? So I was bullied all through school. I really had no close friends except for that one friend of mine. And even she wasn't always around like I wanted her to be. You know, I never wanted her at my house because of the way that I was treated. I didn't want her seeing any of that stuff. I was embarrassed. I didn't like the way the house looked because the house was not spotless, just like my house isn't now. Um, so I don't have people over. And I have a problem with cleaning because of all the mental challenges that I'm, going through right now. And I look back and I wonder if the woman who gave birth to me, if she didn't have stuff like that, but just went undiagnosed and, we didn't know. Do I hate her? No. I actually feel sorry for her. She's dead now, by the way. But I feel sorry that she died alone. I do. But it was her choice. She didn't really want any of us kids around. To her, if she didn't have a man, she wasn't happy or couldn't be happy. I don't know how she felt. But so growing up, I was abused. I was bullied in school and no one knew. By the time I was about 17, I met and married my first, my husband, my first husband. Um, but he made me even more difficult because I had to be at home at 3:30 for him to call me right after school. So, by that time my sister was in school herself, so she was doing sports and I was hoping to do some stuff, but I couldn't hang out with any of my friends because I had to be back to wait for him because he was like, "Oh, well, I'm getting ready to go to work and I was hoping to talk to you for a few minutes before I went to work, because I haven't seen you all day and I love hearing your voice and I miss you and I love you and blah, blah, blah." Right. And for him to say he loved me before being intimate with me was like a big, oh my stars, he actually loves me, not the deed. Right. So I was all aflutter, but again, I didn't know the signs. And I wish to God that someone had told me the signs, warned me or something. Right. So every night at 3:30, I had to be home. At 9 o'clock at night on his first break, because he worked the graveyard shift, at 9 o'clock, he would call me to say goodnight. And then he'd call me at 7 o'clock in the morning when I was getting ready for school. And he would make it so that way he was the most important person in my life, no one else. And by this time, my sister was 10. And so she had friends and she would go to her friends' houses and stuff. So I had a little bit more grace period time, right, to do things. But I couldn't because he wouldn't let me. I couldn't do that. I just want to make you guys aware, it's very important that you take care of yourselves. It's very important that you know what the flags are, the green, the yellow, and the reds. Especially the reds. Stay away from the red flags. The green ones are absolutely where you can be you 100% of the time. I hope this have helped. Um, if you have questions, give me a holler. My books are on Amazon. Just type in my name, Llewellyn Bissell. Please remember that you are not alone. You are not forgotten. I want you to know that God loves you, and so do I. And that's why I do these, because I do care. And I don't want you to ever feel alone. So I am here. Reach out. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.